It's interesting. So number one, to get really good at lifting 900 pounds, you need to build a level of stiffness and you need to lose other capacities, right? Because again, I think Saquon Barkley, right? He can lift a lot. But imagine if like he was just like, fuck running and fuck sprinting, I'm just going to go into lifting. Imagine how much more he'd be able to lift.
And from a young age, maybe he had, even though he is tremendously athletic, maybe he already had just a little pinch extra of that stiffness or tightness or whatever it was that allowed him to be strong. So maybe he had like a propensity towards that or for that. And I think when someone first does a sport and they're even just pretty good at it, I'd imagine your exposure to soccer, your experience was probably pretty good, where you're like, okay, I'm a little faster than some of my friends. I might be able to do something like this, or at least you're in striking distance of maybe being able to do some stuff maybe that you saw some older kids do.
Well, I just wanted to pull this up because Saquon just ended this guy's career. It's like he broke his ankle so bad.
Oh,
Check this shit out. No, I mean, no. He's obviously fine, but look.
Okay.
See you later.
So you guys are saying Saquon's doing super good this season or something,
He's doing
right?
insane.
He is basically their only offensive option right now.
And they only have like one loss. The Giants are on fire.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, I would have 0 fantasy points.
Oh, yeah, you're out here playing fantasy football.
Was it
getting my ass kicked, by the way.
Andy Triani, right?
Andy Triana. You always say Triani.
I say Triani too.
Triana.
Why do you guys
I don't know. It just
Andy Triana? I don't know.
Andy Triana. Go
There we go.
Super Brain,
Triana.
guys. Go follow him on Instagram. He works.
Yeah, works with him. Right.
Yeah, he works with him and a bunch of other high-level athletes. He's a brain, and you should listen to our podcast with him. It was like 3 hours long. He's amazing. But the crazy thing about like all this genetic stuff, and we were talking about it another day off podcast, and some of this stuff is going to sound super bro-y, but you notice it. Like, for example, white guys, right? When you see really strong white dudes, they tend, like, there are genetics of all types, but at the highest levels, they tend to be really good at strength. Like, when you think of Hapthor, when you think of like some of the top strongmen, even though some of them even though they've done drugs, but think about them outside of if they didn't. When you think about powerlifting, and then you look at even the way they're structured, they have like huge joints. They're able to produce a lot of force. And then when you look at sports that involve a lot of quickness, like soccer, baseball,
boxing,
who do you tend to see?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of Latins.
A lot of Latin American people from Latin America, et cetera. They seem to be really quick. Even some of the best soccer players I knew growing up had this just like insane quickness that there was no way that I would be able to emulate. They were they were Mexican dudes, and you see that a lot on the field. So, and when you think of like sports like basketball or sports that you need high force production and speed, you see a lot of black guys. You see a lot of black people. Power Project family, how's it going? Now, on this podcast, we talk all about recovery, which is why 8 Sleep are the beds that we sleep on. Now, 8 Sleep is the Tesla of beds. Not only does it track your heart rate, your HRV, your tosses and turns, it also tracks how long you've been in each sleep cycle, and the mattress does something amazing. It changes its temperature through the night to make sure that in each sleep cycle, you're getting the optimum sleep for you. Now, I know you guys are interested in checking them out, so head to 8sleep.com/powerproject, and you'll automatically be able to save $150 off of your Pod Pro cover or your Pod Pro cover and mattress combo. Check them out. Enjoy the video. So it's just interesting because it's like different ethnicities have different, I guess at the top level of different types of sports, they can exude different types of capacities. And it's really cool. The conversation can get dirty when people try to bring a bunch of other things into the mix and try to think of superiority and shit. But if we're just trying to look at it at what we visually see, there are differences.
Right. And there is, there is like a little bit of like a track record of some athletes being superior. And I think it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that like, in the 100-meter, you don't see a lot of white guys. It's all right. And in the pool, you don't see a lot of black guys, right? Like, I mean, it's all okay. Like, no one needs to get too worked up. It doesn't mean that someone can't cross over. Doesn't mean you don't have the ability to cross over, or that I'm saying anything remotely close to that. But it's just what you see. Some of it's exposure. Like, what do you get exposed to? What sports do you get exposed to? What sport are you going to have access to? What sport is going to be something that you can do frequently? Like sometimes something like swimming or hockey. Hockey's a real pain in the ass, or skiing, or you know, any of these sports, there's like certain sports are very difficult. Like imagine you're a high level skateboarder, but you grew up with no skateboard park. You know, like it's like harder. Like you have to really go way out of your way. Meanwhile, there's some other kid that is 5 or something, and he's got a skateboard park right next to his house, and he lives in Santa Barbara, California, where it's always nice out, where a lot of people, or Santa Cruz rather, where they're like notorious for that. So of course you're probably going to do the thing that the area is notorious for. And we see that a lot with soccer, and we see it a lot with other sports. Sometimes, I think in Ohio, there's an area in Ohio where the kids, like Masculine Ohio, I think it's called, the kids are born and they put a football in their crib. You know, sometime they're young, they're like a baby boy, they stick a football in his crib.
Yeah. Who was it? Shit. Was it Adriel
Mays?
Yeah, or Matthias talking about like maybe dipping their toes into CrossFit. Because we were having that conversation, like how come there isn't like one, or well, not one, but how come there aren't many black dudes like in high level CrossFit? I'm just curious because
pricing. Pricing. Because so number one, you think of the economic disparity in the United States, and then you think of like, well, if you're going to be able to go to a CrossFit box, the pricing and the typical areas that CrossFit boxes are areas that you're not going to see a higher percentage of African Americans living in those areas. So they're not going to tend towards CrossFit. The sport that they're going to tend towards is there's probably a lot of courts around where they live, maybe a lot of fields.
Makes sense.
So they can play basketball.
See how
and
fucking
football.
racist this topic can get?
I mean, it's not even racist, but it's,
I know.
You know, like when you think about it, that's why it was kind of interesting how, for example, Tiger Woods or Serena and Venus Williams, they got into the sports they got into, because typically a guy like Tiger, you are not going to see a black dude in golf unless there's a bit of money involved.
He wasn't allowed to go into the clubs.
Yeah.
When he was a kid, and his dad taught him from a young age to just say, you know, where's the first hole? And that's what he did. And he just like, I don't think when he was really young, I don't think he knew what it meant.
Yeah.
I don't think he understood like why he wasn't really allowed in there. As he got older, as he got older, it fucking bothered him a lot. But instead of like where's the first hole, he was like, where's the first hole? Like, I'm gonna fuck everybody up. You want to treat me like this? You're all gonna pay. And that's, I mean, he did an unbelievable job. He's one of the greatest golfers of all time. Fucking crazy. And to overcome some of those things is wild. But here's a question for you guys, and it's interesting when we get into the natty or not stuff all the time. You know, it's over and over and over again. The whole topic is super interesting. Do we admire somebody who, like, we can say like some of these people over here seem to have good genetic talents that can maybe lend itself to potentially better results in a specific sport or in a specific thing. Do we admire that more, and that guy makes it really far, or are we admiring that, but then we're upset when someone takes steroids to get somewhere, and they recognize maybe they recognize they don't have the genetics. Maybe they don't even recognize they don't have the genetics. Maybe they just thought maybe they thought to themselves, maybe they have a limiting belief system and thought, maybe for myself even, maybe I thought I can't really do what I'd like to do without steroids, so I'm just going to take them.
Hey, baby. I'm joking. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, and head to the Power Project Discord, all right? I know you enjoyed the video. Speak to y'all soon.